This is the start of the series CCNA 200-301 course. This is day 1, and today we're going to be covering networks and the components. So we're going to be covering these exam objectives for the CCNA. Cisco posts this as a PDF. You can see it on the internet, but I'm just going to break these all down over the 30 days, and we're going to cover all of them. And I know everything there needs to be known about how to study for it, and what's important and what's not important, and what you'll see and what you won't see. So here we'll start with these, and we'll continue on over the series. So let's do this. Alright, so the main question, what is a network? So let's ask Amazon Web Services. Alright, there it is. Okay. So, there. What is a computer networking? Computer networking refers to the interconnected computing devices that can exchange data and share resources with each other. These networked devices use a system of rules called communication protocols to transmit information over physical or wireless technologies. That's a very formal one, but basically our main take from it is the interconnected computing devices that can exchange data and share resources with each other. That's what networking basically is. So let's see some of the common networking devices you will see often when preparing for the CCNA. There's the router, the switch, the end device, the firewall, and the server. So let's start off with routers. So it's one of the most essential things in a network, and that is the router. It helps end devices communicate with each other, and it helps connect you to the internet. So these are the things they're known for. They're known for connecting networks. An example is like when they link your home network to the internet, and they're meant for directing traffic. And basically it's a router makes sure that your traffic goes to the right place and comes back and goes to you. It knows the best way to do this through routing protocols, which we'll cover later. So now we go to switch. A network switch is a device that helps connect multiple devices within a LAN. So what does it do? There's also this one key component I'd like you guys to know. It's power over Ethernet. It's one of the objectives. So basically what it is power over Ethernet is like what a switch can do. So when you plug your say like a camera or a voice over IP phone into one of these ports, it'll take the data and put it into whatever you need, right? Because that's what a switch does. It gives data, like switches data into whatever device is the end device. But power over Ethernet allows it to also get the power from that cable. So you're basically doing two things at once, and you're able to send the data while also getting like electricity to the thing, so you don't have to like plug it in. So it's very good. That's what power over Ethernet does. And basically a network switch is really important when you're making like a good efficient network. It allows multiple devices to communicate smoothly and quickly within a local area, because switches can switch stuff to end devices in the same local area, but you need a router to route traffic out of the local area network, which we'll cover later what a local area network is. But yes, so that's the switch. So there's a small overview of the type of switches I wanted to cover. Layer 2 switches operate only on layer 2, which is a part of the OSI layer or OSI model, and we'll cover that soon. But basically it switches only in its LAN, and it switches MAC addresses, which are layer 2 addresses. And yeah, it's just like it can only go through its network. It can't like go to the internet or other networks. But then there's another thing called the layer 3 switch. It's also known as a multi-layer switch, which operates on both layers and can switch MAC addresses, but it also has the abilities of a router and is able to switch IP addresses, so it can do both. End devices. End devices are the devices that are the users, so it's like the computer, PC, and like what you're using maybe when watching these videos. And end devices are what the rest of the network components work to give data and information to. It's also known as like a node, and any device that is capable of sending and receiving data at stable rates is an end device. So it's like a PC or something like that. Firewalls. job of a firewall is keeping your network secure from unauthorized access, malware, and other cyber threats. They ensure that your data and personal information remain safe by constantly monitoring and managing the flow of that data. So think of firewalls as security to make sure that nobody who's not needed to be there is there. So it's like basically like the data that's bad, or if you're trying to access something and someone set up a firewall that you cannot access that and it has that specification, then you won't be able to access that. So it keeps the network safe and secure. That's just the main purpose. And now servers. So there's many types of servers, but the main purpose of a server is to provide services and resources to the client devices or the end devices. And they enable the centralized management, security, scalability, ensuring that networks run efficiently and effectively. So they're like the things that hold all the info that other people want, right? So say PC1 end device is like, hey, I want the picture of a cat from server 4. Then after that it has to go through switches, and then it will go through, and the switch will say, hey, he needs that, and then we'll send it through. So the server is like what holds the data. So now we have to think about client and host relationships, which is what we just talked about. Client is the device that's requesting something and like making the contact with another device, trying to guess it. So say an end device is like, hey, give me that file. And then after that, the host is what's sending the client what it wants, right? So then it's like, hey, okay, here you go, here's the file. And the PDF goes to the end device, and they're both happy. So that's about it for this day 1 CCNA course. But now we have to just go to the practice questions and listen. I'm going to tell you some tips for the CCNA. This is just a short overview per day, but you need to do a lot of practice questions if you want to pass. You need to like purchase one of the subscriptions from, say, like Buzz on X Sims is a good one. There's also like a bunch of other ones if you want to save money. I bought one. It was called letmepass.com or something like that, Exam Easy Pass, and I'll link it in the description below. But basically that's what helped me pass, because it just gives you hundreds of questions, and then eventually you'll be so accustomed to all of the questions that you need to like hear for the CCNA that you'll have no trouble once you're sitting in the CCNA. That was the main key for my passing. I'd really suggest it to you. You should just take like practice questions. But here are some I made so you can test what you learned today. So let's start. What network device can operate on layer 2 and 3? So is it a router, a server, firewall, layer 3 switch, or layer 2 switch? So you can pause the video and think about it. Okay, so basically, remember that we covered this recently. Layer 3 switch, also known as an MLS, is the multi-layer switch that can operate on layer 2 and 3. So this one has routing capabilities and switching capabilities, so it can do like IP addresses and MAC addresses. Practice question 2. In a scenario where a Gecko wants Joe to send him a file, who is the client and who is the host? So you choose 2 answers. So pause the video here and think about this. Okay, the answers are C and D. So Gecko is the client and Joe is the host, because Gecko is asking, hey, can I have this so-and-so file? And Joe is like, of course, and he gives it. So Joe is the giver, Gecko is the asker, Gecko is the client then, and Joe is the host. So it's a simple concept and important that you need to know that you can differentiate a client and a host. So yes. Practice question 3. What protects your network from malware and bad? Is it a router, a server, a firewall, a layer 3 switch, an end device, or a client? The answer is C, firewall. Because firewall I'd honestly just think of it as firewall. Wall would like hold something bad out of it, right? That's why those old empires built walls, so you can have like safety. So firewall protects your network from malware and bad things. So just make sure you remember that, and you should be good. That's what firewalls do. They protect the network. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to show your support for this series, please like, comment, and subscribe.